Tonight on the Venice Film Festival, stuff to talk about, and we're going to talk about some movies that feel like movies and are good on the big screen because they're movies.
Because they are movies.
They're movies. You just did an Australian accent.
That's the only accent I know. Too many Nicole Kidman ads.
All right, we're going to fix this, and we'll come back on the other end.
Everyone is part of the family at this point.
I didn't do my fan fiction idea that I had, so this movie was garbage.
What is this?
You are a monster beyond all belief.
Put them all in the thing and let them do the thing, you know what I mean?
How? You're lucky to have me back.
You're never gonna get 60 million people because you're not a Super Bowl. Shut up!
So chaotic.
Welcome to the Guy at the Movies podcast, where heartbreak feels good in a place like this. Sean, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, just fresh off a 3-day weekend that technically is still going on.
Technically still happening, and we don't have to be in work until the morning.
Yeah, exactly. I am going to hold on to every hour I possibly can.
Monday scaries. Here we are.
Exactly.
Well, we have a lot of Venice film stuff that we want to get to, but we're going to dive right in and start talking about the one of the bigger trailers that came out last week, and we didn't take time to talk about it last week because we had some weird ones.
We had to talk about Winnie the Pooh, yeah.
We had to talk. Well, like, I'm not going to put Weird Al and then Empire of Light. Like, that just seems disrespectful to Sam Mendes.
I think it should be, Empire of Light and Winnie the Pooh.
And Winnie the Pooh, right. Wait, I have to read this text to you that I got this morning, by the way. Speaking of Winnie the Pooh, this is a bartender at a bar near my parents who sent me, this was yesterday. Where is it? My crazy son, or my insane son, is telling me that they're recreating the Winnie the Pooh movie into an evil character 3D movie. This can't be true, right?
Sorry to say.
I was like, well, here it is. Let me explain copyright to you. Because that's what's happening. But we are going to discuss the trailer, really a teaser trailer, because it's only 1:15 or something. But this is for Sam Mendes, not Shawn Mendes.
Roll back the pod.
I do love Sam Mendes, though, star of Lyle Lyle Crocodile.
That's Shawn Mendes.
Upcoming Shawn Mendes.
Joe.
Wait, did I just say Sam Mendes?
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's reset. Rewind. Sam Mendes, I almost said author. Wow, this is going to be a fun one tonight, Lord.
Well, we apologize in advance on behalf of both of us.
Sam Mendes, not to be confused with Shawn Mendes, is the director of such films as Skyfall and 1917, and he's back with Empire of Light. This is said to be a love letter to cinema. I really like the teaser. It just seems really beautifully shot, and Olivia Colman's in this. We'll talk about it in a little while in terms of the reception that it's getting at the Telluride Film Festival, or that it received at Telluride. But what did you take from the trailer?
I mean, just from a 1 minute, this has Oscar written all over it. It's about the movies. It's got Olivia Colman and Sam Mendes, who weirdly, like after American Beauty, where he won the Oscar, like kind of didn't get ousted or anything like that, but just was not really like, given any attention toward until like 1917 came around. I don't know if there's any nominations between there. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any. But like there's something like Road to Perdition where it's like, oh, he's a lock for a nomination, possibly a win, and then just totally skipped over. So like now it's just something where, oh, wait a minute, this guy is pretty good. He manages to make a beautiful looking film pretty much almost every time. I wasn't sure if it was Deakins or not that's the cinematographer, but just because they work a lot together.
I believe it is.
Oh, that's it then. I mean, that's that's solid right there. Because I think Deakins now, from never winning and getting nominated all the time, is just going to kind of dominate with wins now. And I just want this later career of his to just he just doesn't miss.
We always root for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Shove it in their faces.
It would be perfect. I love this trailer. I mean, it's like you said, it's a teaser, so I don't exactly know what's going on, but it looks like there's a theater and there's turmoil going around outside. A lot of racism is happening, or it seemed like there was some decent bout of racism. I don't know anything else, but I mean, everyone that is involved in this, I love. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, I noticed, are doing the music, and so also Toby Jones. I hated that his above his name was blank, and I'm like, let's get Toby Jones a quick Oscar nomination for this one as well. I would love to see that. I mean,
he kind of creeps me out.
Oh yeah, oh god, yeah. That's what I love about him.
I'm with you. Everything that you said, it just seems like really probably a story about how cinema saves these individuals and is like a place for them to go and find safety when the world is falling apart around them. So I think we'll really identify with that, Sean. It sounds like something that we'll really be into.
The beauty of cinema.
Now, on the flip side, we do need to talk about how this is Shawn Mendes's best song ever.
You watch me beat it till I can't breathe.
When I put light refraction to the cinema, 24 frames per second.
Can't wait to see him in Lyle Lyle Crocodile.
I am so upset because I loved those books as a kid, and I don't know what's happening.
That trailer played this weekend. Maybe it was before Spider-Man, but I was like, "What is happening here?"
It's so rough, man. I remember hearing that was coming out, and I was like, "I'm in. I love those little books. Like, this will be great." And then I saw, I was like, "No, this won't be good."
You know why I'm in?
Why?
Do you know who wrote the music?
Oh boy, no, give it to me.
I'm trying to confirm this real quick, but I'm pretty sure it was the Greatest Showman guys.
Oh, okay, that's something.
Yeah,
That's something.
I'm pretty sure. I'm going to double check that while we're here. While we're here.
Well,
While
while
we're
you're doing
hanging out.
that, yeah, like I'm gonna just look at Empire of Light and just see if there's anything else.
Yeah, we'll feature original songs performed by Shawn Mendes and written by the songwriting team behind The Greatest Showman, Ben Pasek and Justin Paul.
Nice. There we go. Well, that's something at least.
Yeah. I mean, it's, again, target audience is not us.
Yeah, it's for kids, but still, like, it's also for me because I love those books.
It is for me.
It's for me alone.
All right, let's dive into what we've been watching. I'm going to start off with one that is a Latvian film that is said to be a dark comedy, and it's called Squeal. Listen, I love a lot of crazy movies. This one was about a guy who ends up meeting a pig farmer in Eastern Europe and then gets forced into like slave labor on the farm. But a magical pig helps him. Listen, I don't really know what was going on. That's pretty much the film. And the performances were fine. The film itself just didn't have much to it and seemed pointless. If you asked me what the point of it was today, after watching it a week ago, still couldn't tell you. Not really my cup of tea. I love very odd premises when there is a point to them. It kind of reminds me of, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget the Wolf. Was that the film that came out last year?
Did they like think they were animals or something?
Yeah, they like had a mental condition where they felt like that was saying a lot about society and healthcare and mental health and all of that. And it's just, I was searching for it here, never found it. Is this one that you're gonna put on your list, Sean?
Boy, when you sent me that trailer, it's kind of at the same level as the Winnie the Pooh thing, where it's like not just like is it weird, but it just looks like it was made like by like me on my iPhone. Where I'm at that point where it's just like I don't think I need to really bring those into my life. But
you know what? Even with the Winnie the Pooh, Heart, Blood and Honey, or whatever it's called, like at least we know what we're getting with that. It's a slasher film. That's all you need to know.
That's true.
The other two things I saw this week for National Cinema Day, which, by the way, the theater was absolutely packed. The one I go to is a 22-screen theater. It has a ginormous parking lot that I'm always like, this is overkill. Every spot was taken in that parking lot. When I got there and when I left, and I was there for 6 hours.
It's almost like movie tickets definitely cost too much, and if they lower their prices just like a little bit, I know like $3 is a little bit extreme, but if they put them like a little bit lower or something like that, people go to the theaters. Discount Tuesdays, the theaters are packed. I don't understand how that math equation is adding up to the people that own theaters. But
yeah, we were texting about this on Saturday, and it's I don't know what the messaging. I mean, that's the message that you take from this. What they do with it and how they could capitalize on it, that's a whole other thing that I'm like a little outside of my pay grade with. But I saw Jaws on IMAX.
Wait, finish that again because I'm looking up here. You didn't see Jaws on IMAX.
Oh, I put Jaws 3D. I saw Jaws on IMAX.
Oh, just regular Jaws.
Yeah, it's just regular Jaws.
Oh, I was ready to roast you a lot. Okay.
I don't know why I put 3D. I think as I saw earlier, like someone else saw it on 3D. I saw it on IMAX. I had a lot of fun with it. I'll tell you though that like Bruce the Shark does not hold up in 2022.
Mhm.
Like it literally is just like
It's a straight up robot. The things that sell the basically the one Bruce the Shark scene, because other than that, he's either underwater or you literally don't see him. Because even his underwater shots are pretty good because it's just like a menacing giant shark.
Yep.
But when the captain gets eaten, it's all Robert Shaw that's selling that.
Yeah.
Like, that's where it's like, yeah, like he's actually making me like he's the one that's freaking me out more than the shark.
Well, and they
doubt.
quickly pan to the shark like very quickly and then pan back to him. Like
Yeah.
you could tell that they knew. I mean, and that's intelligent filmmaking to be able to recognize that. But it was a lot of fun. I don't know that I've sat down to watch it beginning to end in like 20 years. So that was a lot of fun to do. Excuse me, as I burp into the microphone. But yeah, it's the other thing, and this may be a controversial statement, is it made me appreciate graphics of today, especially like thinking about other shark movies like The Meg, which I think is actually a really solid shark movie. You know, it takes Jaws and just kind of escalates it to a crazy level.
Dinosaur.
Yeah, prehistoric shark. But it just made me appreciate that a little bit more and how far we've come. But still very fun. And it also made me wonder if we'll ever see a Jaws ride back at Universal or anything like that. I don't know, because it did well this weekend. It in terms of the specialty box office, of which Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul was part of that. It did better than that movie, and it did better than another one as well in the specialty box office. So kind of crazy. But the other film I saw was a little film called Spider-Man: No Way Home, the more fun version. I had this is just a good movie. Like that's what I left out or walked out with, thinking this is just a solid superhero movie through and through. They did such a great job with it. I'll tell you that the stuff they added in, I'm glad they cut. There's like one whole sequence with Betty, yeah, the friend, the you know who I'm talking about, the reporter, the school reporter.
Oh wait, maybe not.
Yeah, you do. She dated.
Flash?
What? No, the school reporter.
Who was the school reporter?
Betty.
Betty?
Betty Brant. She dated what's his name in the
Oh, the second one, Ned.
Yeah, Ned.
Yes.
We're really on tonight.
Boy,
Betty,
she's like a one-off.
she dated what's his name? Well, she has a much longer segment of interviews where she's interviewing a lot of individuals around, like she's interviewing the principal, the gym teacher. She interviews Spider-Man. She interviews Ned, and just like asking them deep cut questions. So it was kind of like it was funny, but it was definitely there was a reason it was cut. There's another scene with Daredevil, Matt Murdock again, where he's defending Happy at a deposition, which is humorous. But also, I keep forgetting that scene where Matt Murdock is sitting there talking to Marissa Tomei and all of them, and that fucking brick comes through the. I jumped, and I've seen this movie 17 times. Oh my god! But let's talk about the after credit scene, and this is a little bit of a spoiler if you haven't seen it yet. They did alter the after credit scene in this. If you remember, the previous after credit scene was the Multiverse of Madness trailer, which I'm against them doing moving forward.
Oh, that was a weird thing. Yeah,
I don't like that. The one that they showed was basically a bunch of scenes, and Betty's involved in this as well, but a bunch of scenes reflecting over the three movies where it's stuff that we've seen before, but Tom Holland's Peter Parker's not in them. So it shows like how
they can like remember a whole
how that spell affects people.
Interesting.
I liked it. I thought it was really cool.
That helps a lot of like people draw it in because people were having trouble with that. That was one of their like logical leaps, which I was just like, there are three Spider-Man.
And listen, I will tell you that every time that I watch this movie and Andrew Garfield first walks through that portal, it is such a cool moment when Zendaya is throwing the bread at him and stuff. Like it is so much fun. and Nona or Lola, whatever her name is, like being like, "Can you clean that? Can you get the web up in the corner?" There's some. I haven't confirmed this. I haven't looked this up, but I'm pretty sure that they changed the music in some of it too, because I didn't remember certain tracks playing when I first saw it, and it was cool. It was a lot of fun. But all in all, just a really fun movie, a really good movie. I think it's one of the better superhero movies we've gotten in a long time.
Yeah, no, it is an absolute blast without a doubt. So for me, I finally saw Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul, which is a title that is starting to really piss me off because it's like just call this movie Honk for Jesus.
And it has a period, not an apostrophe.
And it's it's the strangest like thing. I'm not exactly sure why the Save Your Soul needs to be in there. It's like the sign just says Honk for Jesus. Like it just seems like, I don't know, like not that would have saved the box office numbers on this one, I don't think, but it is something where it's like, I don't know, when you have a long title, you better earn it. And this didn't seem to earn it. That's my only criticism, which is a dumb one anyway. So cool. I adored this movie. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, mainly because this knew how to satire better than like I've seen a lot of things know how to satire. Where there's a subject matter there, which is basically mega churches and the hypocrisy of them, and you dive deep into that without really like causing the offense that's necessary to mess people up. Now, those people just aren't going to see this movie anyway. That would possibly get offended by it. However, I really loved how this like didn't take aim at that type of area. It didn't take aim at a religious type of area, and just took aim at the hypocrisy that we have with mega churches, which are like, be humble, says the Lord, to like 5,000 people in a giant stadium. And I think that what was great about this is that it wasn't just a mockumentary like a Christopher Guest movie or anything, which I love those, of course, but there was like the much more darker undertones to this, which you see, like there's moments that are supposed to be funny, obviously, that I found unsettling. And I really appreciated that, like, there were like these moments that were really intense, really scary. Then there's like other like, surface level jokes that are perfect, like the amen joke, which when it goes to the second round, I absolutely knew that was coming. And it was still perfect. It was still well delivered.
Because they just stared at each other afterwards.
It's just like you knew it. You absolutely knew it was happening. And that's what made it even more magical. I really did, like, when I really thought about it with the performances, Sterling K. Brown is just kind of always amazing. I walked in there knowing he was going to be amazing. Regina Hall, I've definitely, like, appreciated her slapstick comedy level, but this was a whole nother level. She is, like, I don't think it spoils it, but I'll be vague intentionally. But she is dressed in a goofy way while delivering an extremely dramatic monologue. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm supposed to laugh or cry right now, but it's really, I'm feeling both emotions here. Mm-hmm. And she delivers that so well, so nicely. She absolutely bowled me over because she was the one with conflict. Like Sterling K. Brown didn't have any conflict. Sure, he had a confident bravado with this deep insecurity underneath him. And that was kind of fun to watch, but there wasn't really like too much to that character as much as there was to Regina Hall's character, who was just someone like genuinely like just suffering the entire time. Oh man, I like this one.
It's just a smartly constructed film too. It is satirical. It is a mockumentary, but it plays a long game in the message that's trying to convey, and not even the message, but in the story that it's telling with these two individuals. And that I was very surprised. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, the reactions are like the film is okay, and I mean that's fine. Of course, people can think what they want, but I don't know. Like, I guess maybe some of the flaws could be that this was definitely like you could tell this was made on a pretty low budget. Yeah. Like you really could tell this was like, oh man, they really had no money and they were stringing along as much as they could, which that's fine. I guess like I don't mind a humbly made movie, but like other than that, I took no issue with this one.
Took no issue with it.
Took no issue.
We'll let them know.
So the other two things I'm watching, because usually I don't talk about, like, even though I watch a ton of TV, I usually don't talk about TV here. But because like there's not much going on, and I just really like want to just like take this moment to like really like glisten in the opportunity that we have two extremely valuable major fantasy property TV shows going on at the same time, and they're both good. They're both great. Like House of Dragons is like just this unbelievably slow moving train. I'm sorry, I got coffee.
He's getting so choked up.
Yeah, that was loud for me. But it's just like everyone's like, well, all that's going on is there's a bunch of people like just talking in rooms, and I'm like, yeah, but have you heard what they're saying? It's great. It's really just like fun. I love watching it, and I love like they're doing the political intrigue thing that we liked in Game of Thrones. We didn't realize we liked that in Game of Thrones. We wanted to see dragons and we wanted to see battles and everything, but then when we got those, they kind of let the story like on the back burner, and none of us like that anymore. So to watch it and like know that like, oh man, we have like these beautiful political like backstabbing going on with Rhys Ifans as Otto, just like absolutely being like a horrible person. Matt Smith is just really just like hamming it up and being this deliciously evil character where we need more of his character coming up because it's just really great. Paddy Considine, who's sitting on the throne right now as the shittiest king, like, oh, Joffrey is probably the shittiest king, but he's still there. It's just really great to watch all this, and I'm just like so excited to see where this goes. It's jumping like a few years every episode, which is unsettling a little bit. Like we have like they don't even say 3 years later, which they really should, put that on there. But they're just saying like, oh, my son is 2 years old now. It's like, okay, so it's been about 3 years. It's just like because they just got married in the last episode. So I still love it for that. I'm not gonna. That's not a way to like, but it could get tough if you're not a like diehard Thrones fan. But like even me who doesn't know all the characters, I'm just sort of holding on for the ride. And I'm like getting what I can, and other than that, I'm just really enjoying it.
That was my problem with the first Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
was I just needed like a whiteboard to map out who was who.
You truly do. The other one is Rings of Power, which this one, I'm just remembering back in the last Super Bowl where they did the trailer for this, and I said, this is going to suck because it looked like shit. I couldn't believe like they just, I mean, they obviously corrected the effects going on there because this is great. I mean, there's CGI. There is. There is. Like, it's there. But
I think they really filmed in Middle Earth.
Yeah. They meshed it with practical pretty nicely where, it's great effects that you can see the blend very well. And they have, they're doing the same thing where it's just several different stories of all the different creatures and all the different worlds right now. They're building the world still, even though they don't have to. But, this takes place, they're both prequels. The game of House of Dragon takes place, 200 years before the Game of Thrones events, and it's like thousands of years when it comes to Lord of the Rings one. I'm not exactly sure how much, but quite a few. And I really love they brought back some of the horror elements. Like there were a few moments in the second episode that scared the shit out of me. They brought back, first of all, the orcs are not CGI. The orcs are in a suit, which. Thank you. Just like Prey, you're bringing back some of that. Don't make this all CGI. But I really love the stories they're capturing. And, there's only two characters that are in the Lord of the Rings that are in the movies as well. And they're the elves because they live thousands of years. And it's Cate Blanchett's character and Hugo Weaving's character. And they're great. They're a lot younger and oh man, I really do love both of these so much. And I'm just so excited they both worked out because, these are two properties that, the last thing they made was dog shit. And so it was just kind of okay, good. They learned, I mean, hey, season 8 was rough and Hobbit was rough. So I'm not it's just one of those things, but I love them both right now.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting though, with the latter, it's getting review bombed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there is, I'm going to talk about review bombing, I think, in my rant. I
didn't even notice that.
Yeah, but it is. And at this point, I just don't even listen to user reviews. I'm a snob that listens to critics instead. Because as Julia Rees-Dreyfus said in Veep, I met real people, and most of them are fucking idiots. So it's that is the quote to live by when it comes to user reviews. So there we go.
That show is so quotable. So quotable. Now I'm looking up top Veep quotes because
that better be on there.
The 50 plus. The only one that always comes to mind is keep the government out of my snatch. Her quips later on in the series, we're going to get off track here because I love this show so much. But her quips later on when they were riffing a lot, the shit that would come out of their mouths. what in the wide world of fuck do you think you're wearing?
Such a brilliant, like, it's just like, that's like, there's nothing like that's what's brilliant about that one is it's not like, there's nothing constructually funny about that, but she delivers it so perfectly that it works.
Didn't those founding fuckers ever hear of an odd number? That's hilarious. Oh my god, yeah, it's such a great show. That's on my rotation for rewatching.
It's the best.
So good. All right, let's dive into some of the news that we want to cover, and we want to start with what's going on in Venice Film Festival. So a number of films have already premiered, a number of the big ones for the rest of the fall and the future. But we've discussed this in jest a few times, but we need to talk about these articles that are coming out. Specifically, Deadline has an article for like every standing ovation that's happened so far. And what we're going to start off with is the Banshees of Inisherin gets a rousing 15-minute ovation at Venice Film Festival premiere. Yesterday, or I guess it was, I think it was The Whale got a 6-minute. Apparently, Don't Worry, Darling just got a 9-minute tonight, which was probably like a pity 9-minute based on what we're hearing and all the drama going around. But like, what? And I literally just had this conversation with one of the individuals who works on the marketing side of some of these films, and is involved in getting screenings set up and stuff like that, where they mentioned a movie the other day to me and said, well, it just got a standing ovation. And I said, the standing ovation means nothing to me. It means absolutely nothing. I'm trying to remember the movie that got a standing ovation at, was it Sundance or something? And then we saw it and we were like, what? But Sean, you have some pretty strong opinions about standing ovations.
I'm just so happy that I finally found something dumber than Rotten Tomatoes to judge movies by. Because I've always thought Rotten Tomatoes is everyone's like, oh, it's an 89 and that's a 90. I guess the 90% is better. And this is the same kind of level of the standing ovations. First of all, the people are there. It's a film festival where I don't want to use the phrase kissing ass because they're not exactly kissing ass, but they're praising the people that are there and they made a thing. So they're happy about it. I can't understand the social sciences involved in having standing up and clapping for 15 minutes. Hey, standing up and standing ovation for something is a truly wonderful thing. I was very happy with Brendan Fraser and stuff like that. But for 15 minutes, I don't want to do anything for 15 minutes. Anything. If it's 14 minutes and I'm still on the toilet, I'm grabbing the toilet paper. I don't care where we are. I don't understand how you can stand up there for 15 minutes. See, that one's lovely. That one's lovely. The Brendan Fraser, yeah.
Let's play this one real quick. The standing ovation for The Whale was so enthusiastic. Brendan Fraser tried to leave the theater, but the crowd's applause made him stay. According to this user on Twitter, who is the co-editor-in-chief at Variety. But here is the...
Is this the whole 6 minutes?
We're going to watch all of it. Buckle in.
In.
No, kidding. But that's really nice. And just
It's
real quick on that, because I will forget. Oh, it's still playing in my ear. Stop. The Rock retweeted about this.
That tweet was amazing. I meant to show you that Rock tweet was awesome because I forgot. Yeah, he his first movie was Mummy Returns.
He said, "Man, this makes me so happy to see this beautiful ovation for Brendan. He supported me coming into his Mummy Returns franchise for my first ever role, which kicked off my Hollywood career. Rooting for all your success, brother, and congrats to my bud Darren Aronofsky." That's a really sweet tweet.
That's unbelievable. I love that. I love that so much. Yeah, I don't want to also that's the other part. I don't want to shit on the standing ovations themselves, but somebody it was big news that White Noise only got, and this I love that they put it this way, only got a 152nd standing ovation. And it's just is the film in trouble?
Oh, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. And it's no, it's not. I don't why are we gauging how long people are standing up and applauding for? That's just such a weird metric. I mean, 15 minutes is a lot though. that's
Well, and here's a prime example of what you're saying is Don't Worry, Darling had a 9-minute standing ovation. And now only based on 18 reviews, but on Rotten Tomatoes, critics have it at 39%.
I know if I went to the Venice Film Festival, I wouldn't be lucky enough to be sitting next to Olivia Wilde in that situation. I mean, Lucky will, yeah, but whatever. You know what I mean? Like
No, that was Harry Styles.
random enough to be like sitting like, but if I was next to her, I'd probably keep on clapping and standing until she was like done, or like until she was done bowing, or until everyone else was done bowing. I'm not going to be the one to lead that, and I think that's a chain reaction that happens. Not to say like they're only doing it because people are in the room doing, but that's a huge factor. That is a tremendously large factor. So like I'm telling you, every year this happens where I see like a million news articles about standing ovations, and I'm like, I mean, sure, like when I find out that like Banshees of Inisherin like has a 50-minute standing ovation, yes, that does. I do raise my eyebrows at that. That is that means something, I guess, but I don't think it means as much as everyone. I don't think it means as much as a news article would pretend it to mean.
Well, so let's talk about some of these actual first reactions and outside of the standing ovations. The Banshees of Inisherin is being hailed as an immediate Oscar contender, and praising Colin Farrell, saying he may get his first Best Actor nod.
Yes, baby, come on.
He's having. I mean, we talk about the Renaissance and stuff with Brendan Fraser and all that stuff, or the Fraser-sance, whatever you want to call it. But Colin Farrell's had a pretty good career going the past couple of years.
So I'm gonna like just sort of like imagine right now. There's this front. I mean, I'm not looking at Gold Derby right now, but there's 3 front runners right now in my mind. Like I think Colin Farrell's in there. I think Brendan Fraser's in there. And I think Hugh Jackman's in there. Now Jackman has been nominated before, but just once. And so I think like those 3 are like, almost like this like rookie class that's sort of rising up, and they're like, it's going to be kind of cool to see who can battle it out in that one.
Yeah, that is going to be really interesting. It seems like, Brendan Fraser, Bill Nye.
Oh, that could definitely happen. I think
living.
Yeah, that could really happen.
Jeremy Strong is Oscar contender for Armageddon Time.
I think that's going to drop, unfortunately. I don't think he's going to be going there.
Timothy Chalamet gives his best performance in Bones and All, which is a movie that's getting pretty much praised all across the board.
So I saw Variety's review of it was pretty rotten, but that's the only one I saw. So
okay.
Yeah, but I mean, still, like, it seems like a lot of these are just like coming out with some pretty solid praise, except for Don't Worry, Darling, honestly.
Yeah, so Don't Worry, Darling, we'll cover because that will lead us into the next story. But let's talk real quick. The Whale basically said Fraser shines. It's getting solid reviews. There's a few people that said that it's pretty much just a straight like what you would expect from the director, from Aronofsky, and that there's nothing wildly different in there.
I mean, that's pretty good then. What do I expect from Aronofsky? A good movie.
Yeah, right. True. But I'm glad to hear that Fraser is getting really rave reviews for his performance. Another movie that's getting a shit ton of positive reviews is Pearl, the prequel to X, and they're saying that Mia Goth is fantastic. I read that she gave her best performance of her career, or like really shines, or something along those lines. I said this when the trailer came out. I'm more excited for this than I was for X because the trailer looks really good.
I mean, like if nothing else, I was not the biggest fan of X, but I thought it was an okay movie.
Yeah, same.
But, like I'm just like kind of bowled over by the fact that this is happening. X came out like a few months ago.
Yep.
And he secretly filmed another movie like that is a prequel, and like the trailer like came out right after. I'm so like confused on how this could have like
it's pretty cool
worked.
It's pretty cool. Empire of Light, which we talked about earlier, pretty much I've seen mixed reviews on it. A lot of positivity in terms of Olivia Colman's performance. And another article said that it was an Oscar contender immediately as well. Some others said that it kind of like lost its way and didn't stick the landing and stuff like that. But
it is the weirdest thing where Sam Mendes just isn't loved, and I don't really get it. Like he like right off the gate he got like the I talked about this already, but right off the gate he got like the American Beauty Oscar, and then after that he just kind of like fled. And then 1917 happened where he was the front runner. And then just like that dropped to, I mean, a miracle known as Parasite. So, but
yeah, I don't understand all of these initial reactions from film festivals because they all tread the same lines. They all say the same shit. and it's just a remix. Like if you didn't like the movie, then you're going to say like it lost its way and it was more of the same. If you really loved it, you're going to call it an Oscar contender immediately, mainly because it premiered at a film festival. There's really like no in between, and it's kind of crazy to me, which is what we're seeing with Don't Worry, Darling. I guess when I say there's no in between, this movie's getting shit on.
I think I gotta say though, I think you're right. Everything is like the same exact thing when you come out of a film fest, and I think it's they just saw like 10, 20 films, and so they're just writing the same thing over and over again. I think we feel that after. I mean, you feel it more after you're coming out of a film fest, and you text me. It's like I think I just wrote the same review twice. It's just like I think that's what they're going through, honestly.
Well, and it's tough when like you don't like a movie, right? If it maybe it's not even that you didn't like it; it just was unremarkable to you. You're trying to figure out something to say about it. I can't see myself having that same issue with like big releases like this. Some of the films that I cover at film festivals, I like to go for some of the ones that are like not getting as much play. That's actually worked out for me because some of them have really turned into some favorites down the road. Yeah, I guess I kind of said that right. Anyway. But yeah, so kind of interesting there on Empire of Light again, real quick. It just said Variety's review calls it an old school Oscar contender.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
interesting.
Is
that a compliment? I don't know what that means.
I mean, I think it just means it's like a tight story and nothing flashy or crazy. Like it's just a good story. That's what I take from that. But yeah, Don't Worry, Darling is getting shit on. I've seen Harry Styles' performance called lifeless in some reviews. I have seen that Florence Pugh is, of course, as expected, the best in the film. But it said that there wasn't really much here in terms of a feminist message that Olivia Wilde's going for, that it doesn't really give anything. It doesn't say anything new. I wonder how much of that is being impacted by the fact that Olivia Wilde continues to produce feminist. I almost said something really disrespectful, and I didn't mean that. I always said feminist shit and like to demean it, and I don't mean to demean it. Feminist projects while on the back end, while also then saying that she cares about the safety of her actresses and actors and stuff like that, but then also shitting on Florence Pugh in a message to get Shia LaBeouf, who was in a complicated situation due to the allegations of abuse and stuff, trying to get him back on board. Maybe she was trying to get him back on board because Harry's a better lover than he is an actor. I don't know. I don't have any inside scoop there, but I'll be sure to ask her if I ever interview her. But it's just kind of wild. So what happened once the Don't Worry, Darling premiere kicked off earlier today, I believe it was, is that Florence Pugh came, looked beautiful, took pictures, sat down for the start of the movie, and then I'm pretty sure just left. Like got up and was like, peace, going back to Dune where they care about me. She was asked a little bit, Olivia Wilde was asked to clear the air about the alleged falling out with Florence Pugh. And she went on to just praise her acting and all this and saying that she knows how disruptive it is to filming a movie and to all those involved if Florence even had to leave for one day from Dune. So she's thankful to them as well. But then she went into this whole thing about like, this is all tabloid gossip nonsense and the internet will feed itself, and so she doesn't have to contribute. But I just think this is really fascinating that Florence Pugh, who's the star of your film, just pops in and leaves, and like she's not, I don't want to say she should be forced to testify. Man, the lawyer in me.
Probably,
she shouldn't be forced to do press or whatever, but like that's also a big part of it. And I just feel like this whole situation's being mismanaged. I don't know. What are your thoughts on all this?
Well, yeah, when it comes down to like, should an actor be forced to do the press? I think that I think about football players, and I think about Marshawn Lynch, who like just sat there and said, "I'm only here so I won't get fined." And I think, you get fined for skipping press. I mean, this is part of the business and everything like that. I think that's gross. I think that's stupid. I don't think football players should be forced to get in front of press or anything like that. But unfortunately, this is a business, and you're selling a movie. And I get that you had horrible experience on that movie. And who knows, maybe like if I was in her shoes, I probably would do the exact same thing and just like book it and see like, like, fuck you guys, I'm out. Because it's just like, this was shit. You guys are shit. I don't want to deal with this. And honestly, like, I sort of respect you for that on one hand, like, because, I've ducked out of stuff as a teacher when I hated things. Like, I'm just like, this is stupid. I'm not doing this. And so I think, it's to a much more granted scale when it's her doing it. But I don't know. I mean, like, there's no real good answer for this. This is just kind of a mess. I do think some of the negative stuff is coming from this. I think the movie might still be bad. Like, maybe, I don't know. But I do think that the bad review, like the panning altogether is because there's a dark cloud over it while they're in the theater watching it. Like literally someone is watching the movie and saying, hey, this movie's pretty good. And they see Florence Pugh running up the aisle, just taking off to get it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? Maybe this movie's bad. Like, I do think there's like, I think it can be that simple sometimes. I'll be real. Well, now this is just great because now I'm very curious to see this movie. I would have seen it anyway.
Right.
But now it's like, I'm really curious to see if it's good or it's just, has that dark cloud.
I don't know why in my head when you just said about Florence Pugh running up the aisle, I thought of like Ace Ventura at the party where he's like in the bathroom, like, dun, 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 dun. She's like, get me out of here. They come in, like fly in with a helicopter and pull her out to Budapest or wherever they're filming Dune. What she does have going for her is that she is extremely popular. She's a great actress. People love her. She looked beautiful tonight. And the new rumor for Marvel is that she is going to lead the Thunderbolts film, which is I saw this described in an article earlier. They compared it to Marvel's Suicide Squad, which was kind of a neat way to describe it. It kind of puts it into perspective a little bit more for me. But this came out during Justin Kroll of Deadline he was on the podcast, the Town podcast from Matthew Belloni. Belloni. Maybe it's Belloni.
It's Belloni. Oh, I thought you were doing that on purpose.
No, I just really like Belloni. The report is also saying that this is technically Florence Pugh's spin-off film from Black Widow. So she will lead the team. We don't really know anything else about it. But yeah, good for her, right? We're seeing more of her back after seeing her again in Hawkeye.
It's kind of a no-brainer to have her lead it. I mean, who else of the Thunder? Like, I'm trying to think of the Thunderbolts. I know it's I almost said Wyatt Cenac.
Wyatt Russell's John Walker.
Wyatt Russell is a U.S. agent. It's her. And there's a few others that
Baron Zemo.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I guess he could lead it, but like, she's the most fun. She took a pretty average like superhero movie in Black Widow and made it an absolute blast.
Yeah.
Like everyone kept on saying, "Oh no, it's her." Yeah, it's like she's the best part of this, and so I think she'll be the best part of this movie as the lead in there.
What was it? The scene in Hawkeye that I love, where she goes, "Kate Bishop, hi," something like that.
Well, there's like a few her in there, yeah, like just is perfect.
Just absolutely wonderful. I'm excited for that though. I think Marvel's Suicide Squad. Like, I can't imagine that it's going to be what we got from the Suicide Squad, given that it's a Disney property and they're apparently they had to like be coerced into continuing with Deadpool as an R property. But I'm excited to see kind of what they do with it and what iteration of the team we get. Abomination is another one that's rumored.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, Tim Roth is obviously continuing on with his Marvel days, currently in She-Hulk. But who knows?
It's interesting. I think the Suicide Squad comparison is an incredibly simple one where it's just, oh yeah, all the bad guys are going to be together in that, and that's the lowest denominator there. I don't think there's any like other like content sort of connection there.
I agree with you.
That's something that like Disney would be like, like, oh, it's just like Suicide Squad. So this, I don't know though. I've never seen it.
I wonder if Florence Pugh will do press for that film. No.
We'll see. I mean, Harry Styles is in the MCU technically.
Yeah, that's true too. I also want to be very clear that like I totally get where Florence Pugh is coming from and support her decisions and like want her to not feel awkward and shit with what's going on. And it seems like she was put in a really shitty situation. So I definitely understand that. It's just really crazy to me how all this has kind of catapulted Don't Worry, Darling from a highly anticipated film for all the right reasons to a highly anticipated film for all the wrong reasons.
And now it's just still regardless, I also agree with you, but it is really funny thinking of her leaving the theater just as the movie ends, like I do when I have to piss like a racehorse. So,
The way that I interpreted it was that she left like after the movie started.
that's even better.
Like, they're like, boom, and she's like, bye. All right, let's dive into rants and raves. Short episode this week for us, but I want to start with cinema commercials. And this is a rave. So, of course, we have news. I guess we should have covered this as big news.
This is big news.
Nicole Kidman is going to be filming a sequel to her originally much maligned, but now much beloved AMC ad, where she tells us that heartbreak feels good in a movie theater, much like Kylie Jenner solved racism with a Pepsi in a commercial back in the day. But this got me thinking, and this weekend I had the opportunity to see this. Sean, have you ever been to a Regal Cinemas?
No, well, God, not recently. No,
Are you familiar with the classic opening at Regal?
I think right now it's like, please give us money. We're in trouble.
Yeah. Please, sir. No, it is this.
Welcome to Regal.
Now that is the best commercial entry, whatever, for a Regal or for a movie theater. And in case you're listening on the podcast and obviously couldn't see that and are unfamiliar, Regal has a roller coaster, like a virtual roller coaster entrance video or whatever that kind of goes over the rules and also promotes a few things. But the best part of this, and it happened to me the other day when I was at Spider-Man No Way Home, is people will sit there in the theater and put their arms up and go, whoa!
So I'm not kidding you. I don't know that iteration of the commercial, but I definitely know an iteration where it's a roller coaster type commercial beforehand, and there's popcorn popping around, but it's slightly different. And
It pops
was
right
like,
in front of you.
and it pops right in front of me. And whenever Matt and I went to a theater, he would always laugh at me because we saw 5,000 movies together, but I would get scared on that last pop every time. I would jump out of my skin.
Why does that not surprise me at all?
Well, now we're talking about, like, we're going to get into the new movies coming out, and we got to talk about Barbarian because that trailer scared the ever-loving shit out of me. And I don't know if I can.
too.
I don't. Oh God, I'm gonna have to see it. I'm so scared.
Here's the original with the popcorn. I'll fast forward to the popcorn.
Yes.
But yeah, I was expecting that when I just showed that one too, but it did not deliver. Maybe they got feedback. Yeah, this is definitely
Welcome to Regal.
Oh yeah, they're getting it. Yep. This is it. Yeah. Takes me back.
Goobers.
People listening to this
Here
are
comes.
so confused. Here we go. Hesitation.
Off the rails.
I love it. This was a great pod. We're not done yet, but this is a great pod.
But no, so it's funny because someone commented on Twitter about the AMC thing recently and how much they love Nicole Kidman. And I said, but why aren't we talking about the Regal roller coaster? And now people are talking about it left and right. Like, there's so many mentions and comments saying how it's missed. Someone said, I'm sad they don't do it anymore. I'm like, I just saw it. They're doing it. I just saw it. They didn't do it before Jaws, but they did it before Spider-Man.
So now I officially, by the way, stand for the pledge when it comes to the Nicole Kidman commercial. Like,
Are you also a Minion Bro or whatever it is?
Listen, I'm I'm honoring my hero, Nicole Kidman,
There goes
and her 5 accents
my
in that
hero.
commercial.
Yeah.
We come together.
We come together. Oh my God. All right, Sean, hit us.
All right, so I already talked about this one, so I won't even get too far into it because we've already gone over this stupid crap. But at this point, when it comes to Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb, I'm going to be a total snob and say 2 things about it. Either they can get rid of user reviews completely, which I almost want them to do. I understand that's how you plug into the culture and what all the regular people are thinking, and the commoners that go see the movies and everything like that. But nobody's actually using it properly, and nobody's actually going through or using any sort of discretion. And instead there is review bombing. Captain
commoners.
I'm saying commoners, yes. I'll say when Ms. Marvel came out, immediately there was just a billion ones, and then what was it? Prey came out, immediately just a billion ones, and it's just one of those things where the review bombing is such a problem that it really does affect a user rating. So then people will see a high critic rating and a low user rating, and it's oh well, this is just some snobbish piece of art house film, and it's no, Ms. Marvel is not a snobbish piece of art house film. It's a good show. If you have some issues with it about the storytelling, I'll sit in your sidecar and I'll hang out with you a little bit if you want to talk about that. But it's still a solid film that doesn't even come close to deserving a 1. And that's just this silly thing. I think that at this point, my idea for user reviews is that you need to provide a photo of a ticket stub in order to enact a user review. Now, I don't know if that'll be something where people could pass it around and do that kind of thing, and or just do a fake photo or the same photo or something like that in order to do it. But I just think something like that, or user reviews are enacted 2 weeks in to the release, so that or at least maybe
that.
even the day of or a day after, just because the fact that there's 10 million ones for Lord of the Rings because there's a Black Hobbit, God forbid. Harfoot. But it's just one of those things. It's a Black Hobbit doesn't exist. I'm hobbits don't exist, you fucking.
That's what someone said online. They're you're complaining about a made-up story.
Oh, there's a black elf? that blowing your mind, man?
Yeah, that's the one.
So strange. It's so weird. And so at this point, yeah, I'm just thinking something like that, because if there's a review bomb occurring, it's so tricky because they can't just shut down the user review, because then they'll claim free speech, even though they're full of shit and everything like that. But I don't know what the good solution is, except for either proof of watch, which is a tricky thing to do, very tricky thing to do, or just just have it be a few weeks later, where people where the idiots that hated Prey, for those reasons, by the way, that hated Prey, we'll forget about it by then, and the people that actually watched it and enjoyed it and are ready for it would actually review it properly. But I don't know, maybe.
So I was just getting clarification on two things. One is that with this Amazon, I was going to bring this up. Amazon shut off the reviews on Amazon for the show, mainly, and as Forbes says, probably because they didn't want to be promoting that with a 0 or whatever, or a low rating.
It weirdly does look bad though for them to do that. They should, because it's just assholes reviewing it. But
why are fans mad this time? Take your pick of reasons. It's a combination of racism, misogyny, and supposed faithfulness to Tolkien's original work.
They could go fuck off with that last one, because this is literally just based off of a couple of Tolkien post-its. There's no actual book they're basing this off of. So goddamn, I'm getting real pissed.
Oh my god, yeah, there's a whole list here. I'll send you the article from Forbes. It's pretty special. The other clarification I want to make sure that we get in there is that Don't Worry, Darling did not have a 9-minute standing ovation. It had a 5-minute.
Gosh, what a shitty movie. Still, if I ever do anything and people stand up and clap for 5 minutes, I will consider that the greatest accomplishment of my life. It's just really, if someone decides to give a standing ovation for 5 minutes for this pod, send in the video, please. Proof that you actually watched it, and we're good.
It's fucking crazy that you just said that, because I was going to say the same thing.
Dude! We're just in sync tonight. We're doing great.
Let's talk about what's coming out this week in terms of new releases. Over on Disney Plus, Pinocchio premieres on Thursday, September 8th. Thor: Love and Thunder on Disney Plus on Thursday as well, which my father will be excited about. I wonder how many thumbs he'll give it. Barbarian hits theaters this week. Can't wait to see it tomorrow night. End of the Road hits Netflix, and Medieval hits limited theaters. Medieval is a movie I know zero about. Brandon mentioned it on the pod last week, and I've been meaning to look it up.
There's that one and End of the Road that I don't know anything about.
End of the Road is Queen Latifah.
Oh,
yeah. It's so that's a whole nother rant, but Netflix doesn't promote their shit right.
At all. And like, I know you can't I know it's like complicated. They can't go into the theaters with it, but you know, I see like, I mean, Amazon does a weird thing. They like are partnered with IMDb, so they can like burst everything onto their like IMDb pages and stuff like that. But Netflix has like no advertising on the internet at all.
Even on Netflix, they don't do like coming soon shit, do they?
No, it's weird. Like, no, they don't. And they don't have like a good solid thing. Like they're coming soon on their app is like stuff that like has been out for a week or stuff that's like going to be out in like 5 months. It's like, dude, no, I don't care about give me like a calendar or something. Give me releases, but you can always check the calendar at the Movies website. That's actually what I use.
That's very accurate. That's very accurate. I've been better about updating it too. Back on that Amazon Lord of the Rings thing, I forgot about this. CNN Entertainment had a headache. Has a headache now based on this headline. When wokeness comes to Middle Earth, why some say diverse casting ruins the new Lord of the Rings series. And someone on Twitter, let's give him some props here. Jason Conception.
Oh, Jason Concepcion. Oh, he's great.
Yeah. He goes, what's the word for when people who feel like including people? Wait, what's the word for people who feel like including people of color ruins something? That's just I can't get like
it's so weird.
I don't want to make this podcast about like wokeness and stuff because clearly I've been on a rant about it for the past month, but this is just fucking ridiculous.
I will say there is one going on in House of Dragons where like you could almost make a legit argument where there is someone who's like a member of the Targaryen family who is cast as a black man, or no, excuse me, is a black man who is cast in that role. And that gets complicated because the Targaryens are all like completely white with like, you know, like completely blonde hair. And that's because, you know, when it comes to their family, they fuck each other. So it's like, yeah. And so it's one of those things where like, that's the one where I'm like, that gets a little bit interesting, but there could be an explanation for it. You could do something with it. He is kind of like a bit of an outsider from the family. So, you know, I don't know if that makes it better or worse. But that was one where I read that and I was like, that might have been a little bit tricky with the colorblind casting, but literally these are like the hobbits and the elves. They're made up. These characters are like indexes of Tolkien works.
I wonder if more is going to come down the road about that character in House of Dragon. Like if there's,
I'm very curious now. Like I keep on watching them, seeing it because they showed the rest of his family and they were black. So there's there's something interesting going on there.
Yeah, interesting. People just need to fucking get over it. Like if you're, you walk outside and you see the world. If you don't want to see that on your TV screens, then you probably shouldn't watch anything. Assholes.
It's such a good show. Lord of the Rings, both of them, but Lord of the Rings is such a good show. And like, I just feel bad for those idiots.
Also, this is a really funny tweet. Moviegoers when Black Adam promotion is finally over. Because they just announced that a new trailer is debuting this Thursday during Thursday Night Football.
Oh God!
On Amazon. Thursday Night Football is on Amazon now. Just Amazon.
I mean, it was for most of the season, but this is the first time they got the full season of Thursday Night Footballs. Like,
but it's not on NFL Network either.
Oh my God!
It's just on Amazon. It's
interesting.
Yeah. Very very odd. Very very odd. Sean, you will see Barbarian though?
I mean, I have to. I'm going to be looking forward to you like cushioning the blow of being like, hey, it's not that scary.
I'm not telling you shit. You don't like when I tell you anything beforehand, so I'm not telling you anything.
That just hit me in the ass.
That did put you in the ass. There you go. I'm going to message Matt right now and tell him that he has to go with you.
He will. Oh, he's more scared of horror movies than me.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Who do you usually go to horror movies with?
John.
John, that's right. Okay.
John's my horror movie consigliere.
Okay, well, time to get John on board. Barbarian's knocking.
He'll do it.
Sean, it has been a blast. This is a short podcast for us. Not a ton of news as there are 2 film festivals rolling on and another one coming next week. So get ready for TIFF shit. TIFF shit.
It's a new podcast. It's Joe and Sean with TIFF shit.
With TIFF shit. That's going to be a segment of our show for 2 weeks. Now it's time for TIFF shit.
TIFF shit.
Then we'll say it like that, and then it will cut to an audio. TIFF shit. TIFF shit.
That'd be the weirdest one to explain to your graphic artist.
Yeah. Hey, here's what I need from you.
So do you know TIFF?
TIFF. Can we talk about that? I can actually make that one. Now you know I will. Anyway, Sean, always a pleasure. See you next week.
See you.
The Guy at the Movies podcast is a joint venture between Math Teacher Movies and Guy at the Movies. You can catch new episodes weekly right here wherever you're listening to this one. Subscribe so you never miss a beat.